Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth session with our most respected Swami Lakshmi Narayan ji. Thank you for joining us today's session on managing stress during uncertain times, session 4. It's my honor to introduce Swami Lakshmi Narayan ji, our guest speaker from Vedanta Academy. Swami Lakshmi Narayan ji is a senior disciple of Swami Parthasarathi ji, and he organizes public lectures and seminars on various topics related to the philosophy of Vedanta. For the first 45 minutes, Swamiji will share his wisdom on the topic, and the next 15 minutes have been kept for the question and answer session. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can talk to Swamiji during the question and answer session. Please mute your audio and video during the entire session. You can unmute your mic during the question and answer session and talk to Swamiji. Over to Swamiji.
Thanks, Taruna, and good morning, all of you. We've been discussing about how to manage stress. So we had talked about stress as our response at the body level to a real or an imagined threat to our existence, identity, survival, desire, etc. Really destroys your immunity if you don't sleep properly. So therefore, I said, at least about 2.5 hours before you go off to sleep, try not to get into any of the gadgets. There's a tendency to all the time be with our phone, and all the time we are going on looking into the internet or Google or YouTube or Instagram, Facebook or something like that. So ideally 2.5 hours before you go to sleep, at least avoid that. And 2 hours before you go to sleep, try and finish your last meal. So those kind of things we discussed. And then exercise every day, come what may. Minimum half an hour, maximum 1.5 hours, you should exercise. In some kind of exercise, whether it is yoga, pranayama, or walking, jogging, or aerobics, or whatever it is, or gym exercises. But some kind of exercise is very much needed. That is extremely important, because whatever the chemicals that has been stored in our body gets washed away, and also the new positive chemical secreted in the body. And in the beginning, when I talked about food, I said it's not only the consumption of food that we talk about any consumption, whether it is seeing color and form or hearing sound, what we hear from our friends and family and neighborhood. Control has to be there in everything. The quality that goes in should be first quality. See, in an industry, if the raw material is first grade, only then the finished product can also be first grade. So what kind of television programs we watch, what kind of gossips we are constantly involved in listening to or reading, what we are consuming, we need to be very, very careful. See, I don't know if I mentioned this. There is a beautiful documentary called Social Dilemma I think in Netflix. So some of my students, they told me to watch it. So I watched it. It's a fascinating, documentary. So in that he shows how today we take things which comes free. We don't question. YouTube is free, and Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all free. But do you think anybody can survive by giving things free to you? So the fact that they're giving you free means the more you consume, they are making more money through advertisements and many other ways by selling the data and all that. So what is happening is you are not paying them by cash or credit card, but you're paying them by your time. And what you're consuming is mostly rubbish. Very little, maybe good things you're consuming, but most often what we consume is rubbish. And all that we consume goes and sits in our subconscious. Please understand, what is in your subconscious is only going to come at the conscious level. So what is happening now? There are so many things which are in your subconscious. Good, bad, ugly, sab kuch andar hai. But you're so busy running around in the life. And when something happens and it triggers you, then all the rubbish comes out from within. See, I'll give you an example. assume your mind as a glass filled with water, clean water. And in that, if you add little sand, what will happen? The sand will go inside and slowly, slowly settle. Initially, there will be too much sand that you can see, but once it settles down, the water looks clear. Similarly, all the rubbish or whatever we consume goes and settles in our subconscious. Then afterwards, when things are going on fine, nothing bothers you. But suddenly, let's say something triggers, something happens, it disturbs you. At whatever level, physical, mental, intellectual, material, whatever level it disturbs you, it's like somebody putting a spoon inside the glass of water and stirring it. Then what happens? All the mud comes out, isn't it? So, as I explained in this example, same thing is happening in our inside. All the negatives are going in. So something triggers, that's enough. We lose our cool. So that's why you sometimes feel what somebody said doesn't require that you should have reacted so much, but yet you reacted so much. Somebody could have just in passing called you, you're an idiot. But you reacted so badly that you bashed that fellow and he ended up in ICU. Then you wonder, yeah, he just called me an idiot for that. Why I should have bashed him like that? Unnecessarily now, I've caused so much harm to him and I am also running to the police station and all that. But if you wonder why this happened, the triggering point was just the word idiot. But inside you, there was so much rubbish. So that's why it's extremely important we practice sense control. What we hear, what we speak, what we see. Every level there has to be control. Control is not denial. Control means with your intellect, you see what is good for you and do that. What is not good for you, don't do that. Practice that, sense control. And then I talked about action. You have to be physically active. That is very, very important. Even during this COVID time. Now I think lockdowns are being eased out in all the cities slowly, slowly. But even then, if you are not able to go out for a walk or something, try and do some kind of jumping jacks or some, simple exercises, skipping or something for half an hour. You can do easily yoga, stretches, pranayama and all that. So that kind of exercises, action, and generally you got to be active person. Idle mind is a devil's workshop. You got to work for a higher ideal. Keep yourself busy positively, not negatively. So in that context, I said if somebody is, asking for, or somebody is ringing the bell, you don't wait for somebody else to go and open the door. You yourself go and open the door. As much as possible, keeping yourself physically active. And then when I talked about sleep, I talked about the dream and deep sleep. Both are extremely important. So at least try and see you sleep for about 6 to 8 hours. That's extremely important. That's another point. Then I said, practice pranayama for at least, start with 5 minutes. You start doing pranayama for 5 minutes and then slowly, slowly come to 10 minutes, 20 minutes. See, pranayama is an excellent exercise, especially for stress. Because in pranayama, you do long exhalation and short inhalation. And therefore, they say when you breathe in through your left nostril, if you count 4 counts, then when you breathe out through the right nostril, the count should be like 8. Similarly, when you alternate, you breathe in through the right nostril, 4 counts, breathe out through the left nostril, 8 counts. So when you do this, you will be able to exhale longer. Slowly, slowly, the counts may increase. So the longer the exhalation, your parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, and that calms your mind. That is extremely important. So therefore, pranayama is a very, very good exercise. And then stress, the main source of stress is your mind desires. And the main source of stress is ego. These are the two sources of stress. Egocentric desires and egoistic attitude. That is the problem. So that is why in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Udared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva atmano bandhuku atmaiva ripur atmanaha. Your mind alone is your friend. The mind alone is your enemy. That is the words I was referring to in my previous classes. So you therefore need to learn to control your mind by developing the intellect. So the verse which I quoted says, "Let man lift himself by himself, let him not lower himself. His self alone is his friend, his self alone is his enemy." So if your mind is under the control of your intellect, it will be your friend. If the mind is not under the control of your intellect, it will be your enemy. So we need to therefore improve the quality of our mind and also improve the strength of our intellect. So very, very important. That is why we say from childhood days, you inculcate values in the children. It's extremely important to inculcate those values, because first of all, when we say values, what are values? Values are that increases the value of our life. So therefore, we need to develop good, sound values at the mind level. So at the mind level, I said, you need to have gratitude. All the time focusing on what I do not have. So I said, if you take an A4 sheet, on one side you write, the topic is all the things for which I'm grateful for. And on the back side of the same A4 sheet, you write on the top, all the things that I lack in life. Now, when you list out the things, you'll be surprised. Both sides paper won't be enough, because there are so many things for which we have to be grateful. But our mind only goes into things that we don't have. So therefore, we need to focus on that. I was in this context talking about that video for about 10 minutes, which won the Best Short Films Award, where they were all the time showing the ceiling for about 9 minutes of a hospital. And then the 9th minute, the camera comes down and shows the patient who's been in the bed for last like 10 years or so. So what you have been seeing for 9 minutes, which you cannot tolerate, and that fellow has been seeing it for 10 years. So you should be simply grateful for the fact that you're perfectly fine. You could see well. Your teeth are all fine. Your hands are fine. Your legs are fine. For so many innumerable things that one needs to be grateful. So when you are full inside, you will have hardly anything to complain. So therefore, gratitude, and then forgiveness. Let go. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for your own sake. When you let go, you are relaxed. You are holding on to unnecessary things within you. That is what is giving you stress. He called you something 10 years ago and he is gone. Maybe that fellow is dead and gone also. But you are still suffering from that, because you are still holding on to it. So you got to let go. That is forgiveness. And then laugh. Trying to identify with your fellow beings, seeing from their angle. Then kindness, compassion. All these mental emotions, pure emotions, when we develop, that contributes for our stress-free living. If you get into so much of negativities, that really will cause stress only. Nothing else but stress. So now all this I've covered so far. I was just summarizing. So now the last thing that we need to see is at the intellect level. So at the intellect level, first thing is assessment. I've put everything in A because it's kind of easy to remember. First is assessment. See, whether you are in a relationship or you are in your office, where you relate with your boss, subordinates, colleagues, customers, and so many people, or you are living in your neighborhood, your city, you must have some assessment, basically, about your parents, about your children, about your spouse, your siblings, everybody. What kind of personality are they? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What upsets them most? What doesn't upset them most? Somebody may be a good person, but he may lack the quality of punctuality. Somebody may be extremely punctual and all, but for everything he will lie. So you must have some assessment. Like when we go to the zoo. When we go to the zoo, we may love all the animals equally, but we have a perfect assessment about each and every animal. About the deer, It's the deer's qualities, we know. The lion, tiger, their qualities, we know. Snake, we know the qualities. So what do? Though we love all the animals, we go closer to the deer and pat them. But we will never get closer to the tiger or a snake. So you must have a good assessment. A lot of people, especially when I do stress management program, live sessions when I ask people to give me one or two situations of reasons for this stress. And usually they say boss is giving stress, or wife, husband, children, mother-in-law, or politicians, the system. Many people blame traffic. Traffic, my God. You know, my office is in Noida. I have to go from Gurgaon. So much of traffic, this, that. They constantly, these kind of reasons they give. So when you go and settle in a city, first thing you ought to do is assessment. First thing you got to do is assessment. That's what, for example, I'm saying now. Now, last one year and maybe 2-3 months, we have been doing sessions online to companies and to general public. So what I have done is, I have got 2 Wi-Fis at home, not just one, 2 connections. Apart from that, I've got a UPS, right? Still things can go wrong, but assessment. There's a lot of power problem here. So you better keep a UPS. And, you know, so things like that. If you make assessments and accordingly adjust, no problem. If I understand the traffic in Delhi is terrible, so I must leave at 8. Even if I leave at 8:15, I may get into trouble. So I must leave at 8. So if I assess, what happens is, if I don't assess, what happens? Lack of assessment will lead to undue expectations or wrong expectations. And wrong expectations will lead you to disappointments, that is stress. So when you are delegating a work to your subordinate, you know this guy is a good guy, he has the capacity and all that, but he's toda lazy. If you tell him you need it in 10 days, he'll give it to you in 13 days. So if you really need it in 10 days, what you should do? You should tell him I need it in 6 days, because you have assessed him correctly. Then you will save stress. If you don't assess, you will say I need it in 10 days, but he will give it to you on 13th day. And you will get agitated, and you will say, I'm agitated because of that fellow. That fellow is not agitating you. It is your lack of assessment. So if you have assessed correctly, then accordingly you can adjust. Therefore, it's extremely important to exercise your intellect and have a fair bit of assessment. Whether you should also have assessment about weather in Delhi or any city that you live. And assessment about your children, family, friends, relatives, colleagues. When you have assessments, then accordingly you can act. Therefore, assessment is extremely important. Without an assessment, people are going through stress and they're going on blaming the outside world, going on blaming outside. And then accept things which are not under your control. Things which are under your control, fine. But things which are not under your control, learn to accept. Learn to accept that you are a small speck in the total. It's not possible for us to know everything. Impossible. So, what we need to therefore understand is, future is not in our hands. What we can do maximum is doing what best we can do in the present, which becomes future tomorrow after mixing with the past. So really speaking, future we don't know. So accept that I don't know these things. So why sit and worry about it? Accept and move on. A lot of people, I find, acceptance is missing. And also, when we relate with people, learn to accept them as they are. Don't expect them to change. See, when they change, it's good. So whatever you can do to bring about the change in them, keep doing. But the expectation that everybody else should change is a problem. Instead, when you accept, you will bring about the change from within. That's very important. And when your inside is changed, outside being the same, it doesn't affect. Therefore, it is extremely important to have acceptance. And then adaptation. This is another very, very important reason for you to fall into stress. A lot of people do not adapt. For example, food habits. Say, I am born and brought up in South India, Chennai. So my likes and dislikes are, different from North Indians. But now, since 2005, I've been living in Delhi. If I could not adapt, impossible. Of course, when there's an opportunity for me to, contact things which I like, as long as it's not detrimental, I will obviously do it. But learning to adapt is extremely important to deal with stress as well as success. It's only people who adapt are able to be successful. A lot of people, they just cannot adapt. They cannot adapt to the cold weather. They cannot adapt to the food habits. They cannot adapt to the culture. So they find it so difficult and stressful. So you need to assess, yes, there are many things different. So different doesn't mean they are wrong. They're just different. So you got to learn about it and then begin to adapt. If you don't adapt, then it's a problem. Another important point is altitude. Altitude, when I say, what is altitude? Altitude means height. What I mean is a higher goal. A lot of us don't have a goal only. Forget about higher goal. There's no goal. Our only goal is kao pio maja karo. Just eat, drink, enjoy. If you have no higher goals in life and your only purpose in life is to simply acquire, enjoy, what you should understand is our mind is like fire. Any amount of, acquisition, what will happen is any amount we acquire, it will want for more and more. It will never be satiated. Impossible. You go and ask the people who have got infinite wealth, infinite meaning sufficient wealth. Do you think it's enough? They'll say no. There was an article many years ago in Reader's Digest about a rich person in Germany who every year used to change his private jet. Every year, he will replace his private jet. He will sell the old one, buy a new one. So he's writing an article because there was recession that year. He says, this year I'm not able to afford to change my private jet and get a new one. And because of that, he's agitated. And he's really feeling as if he's poor. So when you read that article, you actually genuinely think maybe you should send him some dollars so that he can buy that private jet, new one. So how much ever you have, it's not enough. Fire. Why mind is compared to fire? Because fire, when it consumes, how much ever it consumes, it will still want more. It will say, Dil mange more, isn't it? Give me more, give me more, give me more. Never ever you feel that enough is enough. Never. You don't think so. But all the time in your life, you feel that how much ever you have is not enough. Why? Because you're going on increasing your desires. See, there is something that we need to understand here. There are three types of people. One set of people do not act. They want their desires to be fulfilled by somebody else's actions. That is tamasic category. There is another category of people who have desire and they act only to fulfill their desires. They are only interested in fulfilling their desires. They have no higher goal in life. I've been so much benefited by this country ever since I'm born. So yes, I may have some individual desires. I want to have a bigger car and a better home. Nothing wrong in those desires, but only to act for them. So what I should do? I should say, okay, whatever talents I've got from these universities of this country, I should try and see if I can use it for the betterment of this country through my organization. So then I'm thinking in terms of a country, a community, organization, something bigger. That's why they say in Hindi, thoda bada socho. Thoda bada socho. When your quality of thoughts improve, impossible to be stressed. The quality of thoughts are so poor. Me, myself, all the time. Only me, 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 me. What will I get? What will I get? So you should have a higher goal in life. Higher goal means your desires will fall in line with that goal. Your desires are the smaller circle, and the goal is the bigger circle. So you should align the small circle with the big circle. So, like, Guru Nanak Ji says, Tera, Tera. We also sing that song, what do you call that? Arti. When we do the puja at the end, Tera, Tujhko Arpan Kya Lage Mera. So the whole thing is to have a higher goal in life. The person who works for a higher goal, higher ideal, doesn't think about himself. When you work for a higher ideal, even your pains is not a pain at all. See, when you work for your family, you may be physically going through strenuous job, but it doesn't look like strain because it is filled with love. That's why we say, pitch a higher goal. Family, or it could be community, organization, country, humanity, all species. So keep pitching up a higher goal and working for some higher cause, higher goal. Let not acquisition and enjoyment be the end all and be all of life. If acquisition and enjoyment are the end all and be all of life, you have no other goal, you will be stressed, doesn't matter. Because how much ever you get, you will not be satisfied. You will want more, more, more. This is a law of life. I can't change it, you can't change it. Therefore, we say, have a higher altitude in life. In fact, people who work for higher goals, their life longevity is also increased. So therefore, it's extremely important to pitch a higher goal in life. A lot of us do not understand the importance of pitching up a higher goal. So whenever we think of higher goal or anything, it is as if we are working for somebody else. No. It is in our interest that we escalate our goal. World is not in need of your service or my service. Please understand. World can take care of itself. We are just a small speck in the total. World is not in need of our service. But when we serve, our mind becomes pure, clean. When you stop thinking about yourself, that means you're healthy. See, any part of your body, when it makes its presence known, which means it's not healthy. So when you're all the time thinking about yourself, you're feeling your presence means you are not healthy. A selfish person. That's why we say in dealing with stress, very important factor is working for a higher goal, higher purpose. Don't just come to work for salary. You understand? Don't just come to work for salary. Do it. We use the word atmartha. No. With your full satisfaction from within. Don't just try to put work in time. Try to put time in your work. You put your time, you put your mind, you put your heart and soul in it. Genuinely you want to give. You then see you're not thinking about yourself. The more and more you think about yourself, the more and more stressed you will be. And when you stop thinking about yourself, no stress. Absolutely no stress. Zero stress. So therefore, the goal should be something higher. You need to pitch up a goal and work in life. Then awareness. We need to increase our awareness. When a person starts running after the desired objects, he loses the awareness. He loses the consciousness. Consciousness means he becomes so mechanical. We become so mechanical. We don't do things with awareness. See, when we do things with awareness, we won't repeat the mistake. Firstly, we won't do mistake. Even if we, by chance, we have done mistakes in the past, the repeated mistakes will not happen. In short, what I'm saying is, when you function with awareness, it is impossible to fall into the pit. See, when somebody is walking on the road, trying to cross the road, but talking on the mobile phone and crossing, what will happen? He may not see a pit inside, a pit on the road. He may fall into the pit. But you are somebody walking behind him away with awareness, and you see the fellow going down. So what will happen? You would naturally want to help him. So you may also go down to bring him out, or you may put a rope inside to tell him to catch hold of the rope and come up. In some way or the other, you want to help him. Now, first is, when you are functioning with awareness, you will not fall into the pit. Second is, you would naturally want to be positive. Only positive will come out of it, like helping, etc. Negative cannot come. Impossible. When you are in a state of awareness, negative cannot come. Today, what is happening is, we have grown up with a lot of conditioning. So somebody is a vegetarian, mechanically is a vegetarian. Somebody is punctual, mechanically is punctual. Somebody is non-punctual, even he is mechanically, without thinking. He's been living like that, a routine mechanical existence. So when you bring in awareness, so you find this, I would like to explain this with an example. Children, sometimes what happens is, when they are stressed or something, they'll be biting their nails. I would have told them, don't bite, don't bite. Many times, they are not able to control the impulse. So they are biting their nails. So what you do sometimes, you saw them biting the nails. Instead of telling them stop, you just watch them, stare at them. And they may be lost in their thoughts. But when they suddenly come to the present moment and they see you staring at them, they become aware that they are biting the nails. The moment they become aware, immediately they stop biting the nails. So awareness instantly stops negativity. So in most of our lives, we are all living mechanically. Like chicken without head, we are just running. Get up in the morning, run. It's a rat race. Nobody even stops and thinks, why am I doing this? What is going on? What for? Nobody asks any question. No awareness. Simply run. So this is how we are living. So we commit mistakes. We go into stress and strain and all that. So if we really want to avoid stress, see, I'll give you an example. Even me, I don't know how they find out my numbers and all that. They keep calling, say, sir, this much loan is already pre-approved for you. God knows on what basis they've approved the loan. So they say, no need for this paper, that paper, and that and this. And they somehow want you to take the loan. So if you are a person who's living mechanically, chasing your desires, you will fall for those temptations. So what will happen? You will go and buy those loans, take those loans with so much high interest. And then a crisis situation will come like this, then you don't know how to repay. Or just because you've taken loan, now whether you like the job or you're really passionate about it or not, you will be stuck with it because you have to pay the EMI. And why did that happen? Because you were mechanically chasing the desire. Why did that happen? Because you had no awareness. You could not think. That one decision of yours can tie you for 30 years. See, when you go abroad, especially to the Western world, America and Canada and all that, for them to do graduation, and they want to go to the best of the universities, and if they haven't scored that much, they have to pay the full amount, fee, which is like in crores if you convert it in Indian rupees. Not everybody can afford that. So what happens? They take loan, study loan. So they keep paying it back for next 20, 30 years. And then once they start taking employment, then home loan, then car loan, and this loan and that loan. What is happening? Every time you do that, what you are not understanding is you are committing yourself for the next 30 years. Next 30 years is a problem. So the moment you do that, it destroys your present. So therefore, you need to build awareness in yourself. So there are very important exercises for building awareness. Of course, when you generally develop the intellect, you will build your awareness, but more importantly, introspection. Introspection is an exercise that you do at night before going to bed. This exercise is something that you do for at least 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes, not more than that. What is this exercise? You sit and do this exercise. You can do this lying down, but you may fall off to sleep. So what you do is, you sit down and aram se relax, breathe normally, and start focusing on your breathing. Just normal breathing, just focus on your breathing. You'll become more and more relaxed. At that time, you start going through the day's activities from the time you woke up in the morning. Just going through. You're not analyzing. That's not the time to analyze. Just going through. Saying, okay, I got up at 4 o'clock. Then I sat down to study at 4:15. I had my cup of coffee at 5:45. Then I cleaned the house for about 20 minutes. Then I did my little bit of yoga pranayama. I went for a jog. I came back after a shower. I had my breakfast. Like that. Mentally, you're going through the day's activity one after the another without trying to forcefully remember and without analyzing. Oh, today I didn't go for a jog. No, why did I not go for a jog? Don't do all these analysis. I didn't go for a jog, that's it. Just note that mentally, I didn't go for a jog. And then like that, when you go through the whole day's activity, next day again, you do the same introspection. Today, I didn't go for a jog. Second day also. Third day again, it's coming. Today, I didn't go for a jog. Just awareness. What happens is, fifth or sixth day, you would have gone for a jog because awareness is slowly coming into your life. So this is called introspection. From the time you woke up till the time you're doing introspection, you go through the day's activities, one after the another. And don't rush them. Do it slowly, mentally. When you do that, what is happening is your level of awareness increases. You will not thereafter exist mechanically. It's very, very important. And of course, then meditation is there. But meditation is the thing that we need to do at the end, not in the beginning. So what do you do in meditation? In meditation, I'll talk about simple meditation. All you need to do is, after living a disciplined life, not indisciplined life, all kinds of thoughts you put in and close your eyes and do meditation, only those negative thoughts will come. In fact, you will start indulging in those negative thoughts more in meditation, that those negative thoughts may become more strong. That is why they talk about keeping yourself clean, not just physically, mentally also before getting into meditation. Because if you don't keep yourself clean mentally, while doing meditation, you may indulge in those negativities more. Therefore, we say practice all those controls I talked about, sense control, discipline, lifestyle, pure mind and all that. Then when you sit on the seat of meditation, you keep your back erect, neck erect, with your eyes gently closed and your fingers interlocked and kept in front. And then you focus on your breathing. Just focus on your breathing. Normal breathing. The more and more we focus on our breathing, inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. You will see that you become more calm and quiet, and breathing also becomes more balanced. Then at the time, whatever thought comes, just be aware of it. Don't say why these thoughts are coming. They should not be coming now. Don't fight with it. Just become aware of those thoughts. Whatever thoughts come, just be aware. So then, slowly, you will find so many thoughts coming and going, coming and going. And you have been a witness to all those thoughts that has come and gone, come and gone. So when you retain like that, your awareness increases. So any thought comes, you're able to be aware. So you remember what I said in the beginning, reaction and response. Reaction and response. So what is happening? Through this introspection and through this meditation, when your level of awareness increases, when the thought comes, you become aware. You catch it there. So you don't react. You pause and then positively respond. This is how increasing awareness helps in dealing with stress. So today what is happening is, since you do not have the awareness, as soon as you get a thought, you react and do it. But when your awareness is increased, you are getting that negative thought to pull the trigger, but you are aware, so you pause and then get the real signal. Then you see that you should not pull the trigger. So you will basically be able to have more control. So meditation is also being aware of thoughts. But there are other meditation techniques where they give you a mantra, where you chant the mantra loudly and try to focus your attention on that mantra. And whenever the mind slips, you bring it back. Whenever the mind slips, you bring it back. That is paying attention. So one is paying attention, other is just being aware. So even if you don't get into the meditation of paying attention and all that, where they ask you to focus on a lamp or focus on a mantra, even if you don't get into those kind of meditations, at least start this simple meditation. But like I said, these kind of meditation, you start only after all the things that I said before. Active lifestyle, sense control, disciplined life, positive thoughts. After all that, you should do meditation, not without all that. That's why I said it's dangerous if you do it without all that. Why? Because you've been putting all the negative into your subconscious. When you close your eyes, when you sit down quietly, what happens is you're trying to shut down your conscious mind. When you shut down your conscious mind, what happens? Only you will see the subconscious. And in your subconscious, so much of dirt is there. So you'll be thinking of those dirt more and more. When you think of the dirt more and more, you will be solidifying those dirts more and more. And then, in fact, after meditation, you will be doing more bad things. It's more dangerous. That's why a lot of people, when they come out of meditation, they are more frustrated. So they become very angry and all that. This is because in life, they don't have a general disciplined lifestyle and they simply get into meditation. So these two exercises, introspection and meditation, are very good to build your awareness. And then lastly, you must strengthen your intellect. How do you strengthen your intellect? Question everything. Do not take anything for granted. Learn to question. Question not with arrogance. Trying to genuinely question and understand. Is this the right way to live? Is there any better way to do it? Or why am I doing this so routinely? Am I getting into a routine mechanical existence? Keep questioning, keep questioning. And then read higher values scriptures. You know, whether it's Quran or Bible or Gita, anything. If you are a Muslim, you read Quran. If you are a Christian, you read Bible. If you are a Hindu, you read, Bhagavad Gita. Or if you're inspired by Buddha, read Dhammapada. Read the scriptures and reflect on them. You don't have to mechanically accept what they say, but reflect, think. So when you keep thinking, how do you build your muscles? By constant exercising, you build your muscles. So by constantly exercising your intellect, you build your intellect. So to build your intellect, you need to constantly read the higher scriptures and even literature in any language, even though it's not religious literature, any literature, good literature, you can read. You will improve your ability to think, because this literature will make you think broadly, not narrow-minded. But when you read a gossip magazine or a thriller novel, they don't make you think, whereas these literatures will make you think. For example, in Tamil, we have what is called as Kamba Ramayana. Kamban has written Ramayana. After Valmiki, in Tamil it was written. He didn't translate. He wrote separately Kamba Ramayana. In that, when Ravana is on the first day evening, when Ravana was defeated by Lord Ram, he has lost all his weapons and Lord Rama does not kill him. He says, you go back, you go to your palace today, think about it. If you change, I will accept you as my friend. We will stop the war. If you have not changed and come back tomorrow to fight with me, tomorrow I'll kill you. So in Tamil, he says, Indru poi nalai va. And then he says, Kamban says, when Ravana was, forgiven by Ram to go back and think and not kill him, that was worse than killing him for Ravana. So the state of mind of Ravana, Kamban compares his state of mind to a person who has borrowed wealth, money. So he says, Kadan pattar nenjam pol kalanginan ilangai vend. How a person who's borrowed excessively suffers mental stress, that much of mental stress Ravana had. So why I'm saying now, when you read Ramayana, there also they're talking about the negative thing about borrowing. So in these literatures and all that, when you expose yourself constantly, you will be made to think from a different level. Therefore, you should have the habit of reading the scriptures and literatures and then reflect. Just as read and get information, you should reflect, think. That will increase your intellect. And generally in life, you should constantly ask questions. If you do this, then you will develop your intellect. So thus, when you deal with yourself at the physical level, food sheet level, prana sheet level, mind sheet level, intellect level, at all levels, impossible that you will be having stress, or even if you have stress, you'll be able to deal with it easily. So with that, we have concluded today's session. If you have any questions, you may ask.
Hi all, if you have any question, please ask to Swamiji. So I think Swamiji, we don't have any questions. So thank you so much, Swamiji, for sharing your wisdom on the all techniques of managing stress during difficult times. These techniques will help us to manage stress effectively in our personal and professional life. Thank you once again. We are looking forward for another motivating sessions in coming days. Dear MPS employee, thank you so much for your active participation. We will be sharing the details of the next session in coming days. Have a good day. Stay safe. Thank you.